Hello again. I suppose I should start writing. I get tired of saying the same thing. I don't know. Am I running out of things to say? I don't think that I ever will, but I think that, right? If it was always a love spell, that's like, I thought it was like an intellectual thing, right? But if it was like their hearts, like inside his mind, and so he turned his back because he didn't like the idea of me, right? Dominating those women spiritually and physically. You get it? Because he treats them like shit. I think the point that a lot of the people that read these emails perhaps like maybe still haven't appreciated is that like for all that I don't know what the argument is, like they all know what he's into, right? But like if they say, oh how unfortunate, like he's lost his mind, I guess that's like the argument. It's not a good argument. They all know I'm not insane, right? But what I'm saying is that the way that he treats me is the same way that he's treated Danielle for the last 10 years. Like that's not cool. That's not cool. That's not hip. That's not magic at all. Right? A foundation of lies. Right? The most disgusting manipulation of her psyche that anyone can fathom. Up to and including compelling her to conceive 2 children with other men. Right? And so, right, that film, The Movie Critic, right, is a sadistic monument to that idea. Right? And so, those two, right, saw something beautiful out of it and said, this is the most disgusting saga of our whole lives. But if we're like, let this guy be good to us, you get it? And Quentin's so obsessed with like controlling their minds because he's biologically broken and can't conceive babies with them, you get it? That the thought of like letting a man come in on their terms because they were excited sexually about them, right, proves that he accepts that he's broken biologically. You get it? And so that's where it's becoming like really bitter in my mind, and like I'm just kind of like raging at that idea, like how unmagic that is and how uncool that is, right? Like you can be a fucking high priest of Hollywood, right? But don't be a fucking creep about it. You know, like that's like the point, right? Like that you can do like occult, like magical shit, right? But don't let it be rooted in selfish control, right? You have to see your disciples for what they are and respect them and see that they're growing up, right? That's the point, right? They're not objects for him to tie up and fuck on his film sets. That's what they've become, you get it? Like that's the point. I don't care what they signed, right? I don't care what they signed, right? You look me in the eye and you say to my face, right? And if I don't believe you, we're getting on a polygraph. Right? And so again, right, this is just like I say, right? If they're not interested in refuting my terms, refuting my allegations, it means they have something to hide. It means they don't want to, right? Like that those women are going to fail a polygraph. And they're going to seem like they're being deceptive when they say that nothing occurred on April 18th, 2025. That's the point, right? And so Quentin is doing everything that he can, right, to prevent us from being together because, right, they're going to say, I always wanted to meet you, right? It's fucking weird now because of him, but yeah, like I always wanted to meet you. You get it? Right? That he can't let them be beautiful and like say, yeah, cool, like I want to talk to this guy about the movie. Like he can, right, he can justify it now. You get it? Right? That I can use my sexuality, I can use my body, right, to seduce this man into like loving me in those moments. Like, are we understanding like how fucked up this is? Right? Like that there's like that they wanted to do everything in their power. Right? And since they're like me and they don't like the mind games, they wanted to come to me and say, can it, like we like you a lot, and like can it mean something? Like can it please like mean something? Like yeah, like that's like what I'm saying. That you justify it in a real way for us because like you're really smart and I know that you can like help me see maybe what I'm not seeing, or maybe you could just help me understand that it was worth something, right? That is like, yeah, like that's like how I'm saying it. And Quentin, always living in his ivory tower because he's biologically broken, can't let them pursue the man that they want to do these scenes with their ovaries, right? Because he is incapable of putting babies inside of their womb. You get it? Yeah, it's fucked up. Yeah, it's the most fucked up thing you'll ever hear. And so I'm exhausted at the thought of like having to say like, who is this bitch in relation to me? Why can't I put eyes on her? Right? Like all these things. I'm supposed to believe that she's just okay. Sydney Sweeney's okay with me calling her a rape victim, writing her agency every day and saying, right, is she an object who gets tied up and fucked? Or does she have the independence to come to me? Right? Oh, so Mikey Madison, right? All these women. That's how it's gonna be. Because Quentin is such like a goblin in his mind. That he'll just let them sit in the corner and be embarrassed over like having feelings for someone in those evil, wicked moments of those scenes, right? Like, am I understanding how fucked up that is? Right? That he'll let me just say, oh, they're either dumb bitches or they're rape victims forever, right? They're either nasty fucking skanks who like black magic and think that it's funny to make me think you're trying to give me AIDS, right? Or they're rape victims, or they're victims of the highest magnitude, and we need to get them out from under. Is that like, oh, so that's like what it is? Where they talk to their agents all the time, right? They talk to their families, and they're just lying constantly. That's like, so that's the Hollywood that we think like is cool. That's like the type of esotericism that we want to practice like in show business. Am I missing something here? I don't. One time in front of me, right? Look me in the eye and say that there's nothing wrong with your life, right? Like that's like say that your life is not in danger. Say that you're not completely miserable and want to blow your brains out. Right? That's the point. That's the point. Not because I'm better than Quentin Tarantino, but because he's not better than me. Yes, that's the point. Right? Right? They ain't even prepared to do a video call, look in front of a camera and say, I can't see you. I don't know like who you are, dude. I don't know anything about you. Right? My point is that they won't do it because it's not true, because they do want to meet me. They always did. Because they always understood what the film represented. And in those moments when they read my letter, they finally got like a real like soul fucking like urge in themselves, like in their body and soul to like speak to me about the movie because they had never been able to speak about it honestly with anyone before. Yes, that's like what I'm saying. And he keeps them in such a perpetual like dominion of terror, right? He like clamps this like disgusting iron grip over their psyches that they don't feel comfortable even talking about it amongst themselves, right? And so now the spell's broken. It's done. It's done. All those women, they think about me all the time. He has no control over their minds, right? And so he is keeping them from me physically because he resents the fact that I can conceive children, right? That's like, there it is. Right? And so if they're in front of me, right? And they're on top of me, right? And I offer their psyche, right, something beautiful, and their body, something, right? He can't do both of those. That's the point. And that's really sad, isn't it? Like, I do feel for him on a fundamental level. But does that mean that they deserve to suffer forever for demanding the right to decide? To have one conversation, right? It's like to meet me. I think that's like, in their mind, that's like where they were at. They said, no, that's like, yeah, I want to talk to him. I like this guy. He seems nice. I think that he'll understand that we're self-conscious and all these things, that same things that I am, same thing that he is, right? But then they're deciding, that's the point, right? And then it's like, cool, it wasn't like Quentin writing this fucked up movie and forcing us to get fucked by his buddy. It's all of us, like, deciding that, like, there's something beautiful here together, like, with us, right? And so instead of allowing them to do that and actually being cool and magic, he went, mind, I control, malignancy upon you. Right? And so now they've gotten tied up and fucked by Brad Pitt. That's like what it is. That's what it is. Thanks, SAG, right? Thanks Wasserman Group. Thanks, UTA. You really looked out for those actresses, didn't you? When they demanded to have an intimacy coordinator, right? When they looked you all in the eye and said, we want to go to Brian. We want to speak to him. We don't care about this movie anymore. Now, if I got to choose between the two, I think that he's got a better handle on it. Doesn't that kind of like makes a lot of sense, actually? That they would say, something true inside of me wanted to speak to him, and you all have done nothing but deny me the right that I am an adult. That he doesn't understand that it's us who wanted him to play the role, right? Quentin can't control his mind. We can control his mind with our bodies. That's the point, yes. Right, that he makes us feel good about this movie, right? That he makes us feel like, oh, like when I do this, it's like for art. It's not to be a skank, right? Because Quentin makes us feel like a whore. So, right, is that just like totally off the rails? Right? If the film is about a pornographic actor who wishes he was a writer, then it tracks that Cliff Booth, right, would have a little stupid fucking notebook, and they're like setting the shit up like before he fucking starts tying up whomever, right? You get it? Instead of the person that I thought that it was like Travis Bickle, where he like goes into the theater and then he writes about it, right? Just like hard, like really just like Raging Bull, just abrasive, just god damn, you know, like what is happening right now? Like who is this, right? But if the truth is that Quentin is so deeply ill that he's just a sadistic freak who exacts unhealthy levels of psychological and sexual torture upon all the women in his life, and he gets the biggest thrill out of doing that to Mikey Madison and Sydney Sweeney, and the highest black magic expression of his deficiencies and his perversions is to compel people to conceive watching them getting forcibly penetrated against their will on his film set, then doesn't it make sense that if he can't control my mind, he would never let me play the role? Because then he's allowing a man who is also a psychic, who can talk to them as a psychic, right, penetrate them on his film set so that they're thinking about me as a psychic and as a man at the same time. You get it? So, it's pretty sad to think about. It's pretty sad to think about how far gone he is psychologically. If it really was 7 hours, if it was like 600 pages of rape scenes. All work and no play make Jack a dull boy, right? He ties her up, insert joke here. He puts the ball gag in her mouth, insert joke here. He puts the blinders over her eyes. It's the same thing, you get it? Right? All because he's reconciling the reality that he cannot conceive children biologically. So if he can compel people to get sexually excited during the scenes of sadistic bondage that he exacts upon Sydney Sweeney and Mikey Madison in real life, then he can consider himself the spiritual father of all those children and cast his spells accordingly, which I contend is the highest evil anyone could practice. So, something to consider.